This is part 2 of the cheap fly adventure to Rabat and Casablanca in Morocco, Africa. And let's start part 2 off with an ultra posh hotel. And this hotel is crazily posh. And outside there is security. And they've got a metal detector and they search everyone's bags who go into this hotel. Now I thought I'd have no chance of going in. I thought I'd thoroughly check whether I was staying in the hotel or not. But no, they welcomed me into the hotel since their main job is to keep the locals out. Since these posh hotels are aimed at wealthy Europeans coming into Morocco, although I wouldn't say I look very wealthy, they welcomed me in. And I don't feel entirely comfortable with this. This feels a bit like segregation. So then, inside this hotel, it is ultra posh. And along to the first lift, which is a little glass lift that just goes up to a mezzanine, which is an Otis 2000H. And along to the main lifts here, which are some older lifts that have been modernised by Otis. And this hotel is very, very posh. And it's quite weird at how luxurious this hotel is. And rather wealthy Europeans are in their posh luxury hotel. Everywhere else in Morocco is very, very different. And let's just take a look at how things are for some of the local people here, such as the people actually build these hotels. Let's just take a look at the scaffolding on the construction site. What the fuck? That looks an absolute mess and does not look very safe. How can that scaffolding be like that? But that is not the worst. Look at its smaller construction site where health and safety is not cared about one bit. Look at that little platform that's suspended by 2 wires which they can winch up and down on 2 winches each side of the platform. The workers have to balance on this little tiny wooden platform. They could fall off. I hope they're harnessed on, but I'm actually got a bad suspicion that they're not harnessed on. That is so dangerous. So then, let's ask a local guide what hotel I should try next.
Go to Sofitel. It's extremely posh.
So along to Sofitel, which is the poshest hotel in Morocco. I didn't think I'd be let in here, and security had a metal detector, but they didn't even care a metal detector beeped. They didn't even search my bags. They just welcomed me into the hotel. Again, their job's just in keeping out the locals to keep the posh, luxurious experience for wealthy Europeans. It doesn't feel quite right. And this hotel is bloody posh. Along to the lifts, which are some Cone MX18 eco discs that go 2.5 meters a second. And in this hotel, I managed to sneak into the spa. In fact, staff were not the slightest bit suspicious of me. It wasn't like other posh hotels where I have to sort of try and avoid staff so I'm not noticed and staff stop to question. Here, all of the staff just welcomed me like I was meant to be here. That is absolutely crazy, and I went all over the spa, and this is the poshest, most luxury spa I've ever seen. Although sadly it didn't have a swimming pool, so I wasn't actually bothered to actually use these facilities because I'm only interested if there's a pool. But if I did want to use this facility, I could do whatever I want. Staff don't question you at all. It doesn't feel right, because when you're in this spot, it's just so removed from reality and from the outside world in the rest of Morocco. It just feels really surreal. So heading out of this stupidly posh hotel and just going not that far at all outside of the hotel's quarter. Let's just remind ourselves how everything else is in Morocco. It looks very, very different indeed. So then I now get on a tram along to the end of the tram route. On the map, it looked like there's a beach. And I thought, well, that's a nice place to go. And little did I know I just entered into a really rough area of town. The thing I hated most about it is that I didn't realise until it was almost too late. Because this beach certainly didn't look that rough. There's quite a few people on it. But there's quite a few not so nice people. I'm not sure if they were actually gypsies or not. They had horses. There was a couple of kids on horses charging up and down the beach, making people run out of the way of their horses for fun. And when I was walking along this beach, this 10-year-old pulling a horse came up to me and said something. I'm not entirely sure what he said, but I think he was asking me if I wanted to pay him for a ride on this horse. Then all of a sudden and unexpectedly, he just lunged towards me and grabbed my phone. Luckily, I was holding onto my phone tight enough, and it took me completely by surprise. I had no idea he was about to do this. Luckily, he didn't take my phone, and he seemed very angry he didn't manage to take it. Then, even though he didn't speak English, he implied I was not allowed to go any further up his beach, and if I did continue up the beach, someone would come and strangle me. And not everyone on this beach was part of his group. There was plenty of locals here. So did he just target me because I was European? Is this like some sort of anti-white racism or something? I did not feel very comfortable on this beach, so I quickly left. And this 10-year-old child had a massive scar on his face, and even though he's a complete cunt, I also felt slightly sorry for him. He must come from an absolutely awful background. In Morocco, you really have to be careful because there's a lot of pickpockets about, and there are people about to try and take your stuff. But I won't let this bad experience put me off because there's a lot of people in Morocco who are incredibly friendly. For example, since I wasn't using data on my phone because of costing £6 a megabyte, I asked the security guard outside of a venue where the nearest shop is, and he couldn't speak English. So he got someone else who could speak English, and the person didn't just tell me where a shop is, he actually took me to the shop. That is crazily friendly. And be aware, some of the people do spend demand money. This person didn't, so he was just doing it out of kindness. So in Morocco, you really get a real mix of different people. So let's carry on with this cheap flight adventure, and along back into the hotel's quarter, and along to the next posh hotel, which is Novotel. And Novotel has some 2 metre a second Schindler Eurolifts. Hey, freestyle. And the way a company that owns Novotel likes to do things, they often have different grades of hotel within their same property. So also joined onto this building, there was an Ibis, which also has Schindler Eurolifts. And along I go to Casablanca Port train station, and this train station looks very modern. This looks like a brand new building, and it looks very nice, and it has some Otis lifts. And one other thing about Morocco is there's a lot of cats about, and these cats are not like your pet cat. These are wild cats that just walk around the streets eating up scraps. This one's not so bad, but some of the cats were ever so skinny. And along into McDonald's at the train station, which has a Schindler 3300.
That's bad.
So then, let's leave the train station, but to leave the station involves going past the taxis. Taxi? You want taxi? Come with me. I'm offering taxi. My taxi's best taxi. You must come. Come on, I'm offering a taxi. No, you can't walk away. Don't you understand? My taxi is best taxi. You must come in my taxi. It's better than all of the others. No, you can't walk. No, do you not understand? I'm offering taxi. No, you can't walk. No way. I'm offering a taxi. So, after escaping the taxis, I go along to the next posh hotel, which is the Hyatt Hotel. There's another one of these ultra posh hotels, and the lifts are some Otis lifts.
Safety brake. Oh, that's harsh. Fucking hell. Oh, that's bad.
And in this hotel, I managed to sneak into the spa, gym and swimming pools. But sadly, swimming pools weren't heated and were freezing cold. That's so disappointing. And in this hotel, there's also an older lift, which was really nice. And now along to a building that's currently being renovated, and the lifts in this building are Otis Gen 2s. So then let's go looking around Casablanca and along to the next building, which has two old looking lifts which look really interesting, but so annoyingly you need a key to ride these lifts. Oh, this is so disappointing. And now to the next building. This building doesn't have a lift, but I'm showing it anyway because the building looks very interesting, especially in the courtyard. And now along to the next building, which has two lifts going up the outside of it. These lifts look very interesting, especially since they're swing door lifts. This setup looks really epic, especially to surf. But sadly, the lifts weren't working because they were currently being modernised. Oh, that's so disappointing. And now along to the next building, which has an Otis 2000 lift.
It's a twin lift, twin ascensors. Otis 2000 Twin Edition. Why is it not Destination Dispatch if it's a twin?
And now along to the next hotel. This hotel is not as posh as the other ones, and it has an Otis Mod Logic lift. And I managed to get on the roof of this hotel. And along to a shopping centre. This shopping centre is an epic Schindler M series, but sadly it wasn't working. Anyway, let's take a look around this shopping centre. And along to a Schindler 3300. Right then, let's talk about the costs of this trip. Now, things in Morocco were a little bit cheaper than in England, but not actually that much cheaper. It's certainly not as cheap as you would expect for Africa, and things were not as cheap here as they were in Ukraine. And you have to withdraw cash, because you'll be like handing money over to like market stall holders for things like bottles of water. You have to have cash here, you can't use cards not accepted much at all, which is annoying because you always get a little with cash left over, which is not very efficient. And there's very few supermarkets here. In fact, I only went into an actual supermarket once, and this supermarket was quite upmarket. It was like the equivalent of Waitrose, and the things here were not really any cheaper than in England, because this supermarket is pretty much for people who are quite wealthy, and the locals certainly did not shop in this supermarket. They're all shopping in the market stalls. So how much did I spend on this trip? Well, flights were £16 each way, which is £32. Petrol to the airport was £10. Leaving cash machine and bank charges £3.50. I had to withdraw £16 for bottles of water and other small things, and for the buses. Hotel was £25 per night, so £50 in total. Trains from Rabat to Casablanca were £3 each way, which was very cheap, so that's £6. And I also spent £20 on McDonald's, so that's a total of £137.50, which is actually not cheap at all, although that's not really comparing it that well to other places, because I don't usually include the price of food. So that would be £117, still not as cheap as other places I've been to. Now in Morocco there's a lot of poverty, and a lot of people are struggling with low wages and such. Individual people don't have that much spending power, but the currency as a whole compared to other currencies is not actually doing that bad. And now we go along to the next hotel. This hotel was pretty posh. It has some Schindler Eurolifts. And on the roof of this hotel, there is a swimming pool. This swimming pool looks really nice, but sadly it wasn't heated and was freezing cold, and it's just too cold to go swimming in.
Good, I'll do that.